guys, so I'm just here to start the vlog. This is the night before the summer bridge program, so kind of the start before PA school. I'm gonna explain what the summer bridge program is in a minute. I have some information lined up on my computer right now, but it's 10 o'clock at night, so I'm sorry if I look like a thumb. I'm about to head to sleep right now, so this is what you're gonna get. I think this program is quite unique to USC, and so basically it's a two-phase program. And the phase one, we do like daily talks and lectures, and the educational activities are kind of here to mimic what the PA curriculum will be like. And then the second week we take exams, topics of medicine as well as basic medical sciences. If we don't perform well on those exams, then we're going to meet up with the PA director, as well as we're going to receive some academic coaching just to better prepare us to acclimate to PA school. This is the start of my kind of PA journey, so I wanted to vlog my experience. I wanted to kind of talk about how I'm feeling, kind of some goals and hopes, fears, and kind of insecurities. And I saw this on Nathan Wu's channel. He's a pharmacy student at Waterloo, so I want to give credit to him and definitely check out his video on this. Mine's not going to be super in-depth, but I just want to record this for not only myself, but also just to be totally honest and transparent for y'all as well if you're starting PA school, and for me to look back onto. So I just wrote down a couple of things I wanted to cover. Some of my goals and hopes, first is really that I want to have a well-rounded and balanced lifestyle. And I think in undergrad, I really had like kind of a toxic mindset about really equating my academic scores to my own personal value. It's something that I really want to be better at, and I think I got better as the years went on, especially during my senior year, but I want to continue that and push forward during PA school. I know PA school is going to be a lot harder than undergrad, so I think this will definitely be tested. In addition to that, I just want to ensure that not only am I focusing just on academics, I'm focusing on like my mental health as well as my physical health. And I really like how USC has spoken about the importance of mental health and stress that importance. I'm really excited to get to know my classmates and develop friendships with them. I think putting 60 people in a setting where you are challenged rigorously, it develops camaraderie, and I think hopefully I will gain some really great friendships out of this. The one thing that is really standing out to me that I'm a little bit nervous about or a bit insecure about is not performing well academically. I think a lot of individuals can kind of feel how I'm feeling, whether that you be transitioning from high school to college or college to graduate school. There is a sense of more responsibility, more expectations put onto you. I know that for the transition from undergrad to grad school and PA school, I know that I'm going to be learning a lot more and expected to learn a lot more in a shorter amount of time period. And like I said earlier, how I tend to equate my self-worth with my grades. Another thing I'm a little bit insecure about or nervous about is speaking to other individuals. I'm not the most articulate individual when speaking, and I feel like sometimes it seems like I'm not as smart as other individuals. That was basically it. I'll see you guys in the morning before I start the bridge program. Good morning. I just woke up. It's 5:45. Well, actually, I didn't wake up right now. I've been awake since 5 a.m. I can't go back to sleep. And last night, I couldn't go to sleep till like 11:30, 12. I think it's just kind of excitement and a little bit of nerves. I am going to tell you some of the things I'm doing in my morning routine to help prepare a good start for this whole journey. I'm going to write in my 5-minute journal right here, just a gratitude journal. And then I'm gonna make my bed, change out of my clothes, and get into my workout gear and work out for like 45 minutes. I'm probably gonna do a Whitney Simmons. I have her app until the 11th of this month, so I want to utilize it. And then I'm gonna eat some breakfast and take a shower. So it's 8:30 right now, and I have 30 minutes left. I'm probably gonna answer a couple of questions that I got on YouTube right now. Side note, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments below. I really enjoy answering the questions. I really enjoy like helping you guys. If you have anything, I totally understand how this process can be totally confusing and it's not really streamlined like other processes. So don't hesitate to ask any questions, and I will be checking in probably right before I start the bridge program. So it's 8:57 right now. I'm about to log on to the Zoom meeting to start my first class. This class is just a welcome introduction section, and today is from 9 o'clock to 3:30, and we have a 2-hour lunch break, and from 1 o'clock to the 3:30 time we are going to go over study skills. So today's more of a relaxing day. After class I plan to just work on my Anki cards and create a new deck for chapter 2. I will update you guys when I am done. Wish me good luck. Hey guys, so it's 10:53 right now, and I just finished the first part of today's scheduled program, and that was the welcome introduction part, and we covered some topics, so imposter syndrome and mindfulness. And the first topic we covered was imposter syndrome. It was actually a really interesting lecture just because they actually had PAs that just started working like 5 to 6 months ago, as well as PAs that have been working for years, kind of talk about their like how they've been impacted with imposter syndrome. And it was actually really interesting to just listen to their experiences and what they think would be helpful to help us deal with imposter syndrome. And there was a quiz to see if we deal with imposter syndrome, tips on how to address it, how to build our confidence, and resources that USC provides to help reduce our impact from imposter syndrome. We had a shorter lecture about mindfulness and how USC really believes in the importance of mindfulness, and that mindfulness is actually the ability to be fully present while being aware of where you are and what you're doing. It's the ability to stay calm, not overreact or be overwhelmed by your environment. So that's really important, and I think it was actually a really good fit that I ended up going to USC, just because I have a tendency, I think that I said this in a previous video or earlier in this video, to be the type of person to get overwhelmed and really just focus on academics when I'm in an academic setting. That happened to me during undergrad, especially my first few years. By senior year, I kind of got a little bit better, but I just want to continue on that trajectory of not only thinking about academics as a whole, but also my personal life and my personal well-being, so whether that be my physical or mental health. The next part of today's schedule is study skills 101, so I'm excited to see like what I could do to improve my study skills. And I'm planning after this lecture to kind of go over the notes that I have created, because I've watched a bunch of different YouTube videos to see how to best study, and then kind of consolidate it, try to come up with a plan before I start PA school so I won't be as overwhelmed. Obviously, this will have to be adjusted, whether that be from different classes, because you have to learn differently in different classes, or maybe it's not working out for me as well. Why don't I give you a desk tour right now? Sorry if the video abruptly ended. I can't flip the camera without having to end that video clip. So this is my MacBook Air. I've had this since college, and I have it on a little laptop stand. A monitor I stole from my boyfriend. Thank you, Dylan. And then I have a keyboard as well as a mouse, and those are both from Logitech. I really like this because you can attach like different things to that button to associate it with it, so it's like little keyboard shortcuts. And this keyboard itself is very light, so I can like put it in my backpack when I go to campus. And then I have my iPad. It's the iPad Air 2020 or 2019. And then I have a little candle, I have a planner, and then some dried flowers and a candle. On the screen, I actually have the Google Calendar set up right now. Below, I just have some additional stuff, some like textbooks already, as well as pre-workout and my Beats headphones. I heard it's good to have noise-canceling headphones while you're studying. So this is pretty much it. I will catch up with you guys later, maybe after the whole thing. This thing where we would all like type in anonymously kind of how we were feeling, what we're anxious about or nervous about before starting PA school. And it was nice to know that other individuals were feeling kind of the same way I was, so I wasn't the only one feeling a little bit nervous to start PA school about the academics, and as well as having a well-balanced lifestyle. So that was nice. And then we went over some study skills. I'm just on my iPad kind of looking it over, so I provide you guys with accurate information. And It's cool that USC actually provides us with objectives, and they said that's the main things that we need to know. So if it's not on the objective, it's not fair game on the exam, which is really awesome. So I think that will be definitely a useful study guide that I'm going to utilize. In addition to this, I told you how I created notes on watching like different YouTubers, whether that be med students or PA students or other individuals who research the best ways to study. And I had it kind of disorganized in a bunch of papers I showed you earlier. I'll pull it up right now, but not as pretty looking. But I made it streamlined and nice little writing. And I have study resources, study methods, different notes of like people's kind of daily schedule or their routine that helps them study efficiently for long hours. And then the school's advice on here, which I highlighted, I put in a different color just because obviously that's the most important one, is taking advice from people that are in my program that know how to excel specifically in my program. And then finally, memory techniques, as well as 12 ways to practice active recall, and just to how to know what things are testable. And then I went in and highlighted the ones that I think I'm going to utilize, the study resources that I have right now. And if I need to implement more study resources later, I kind of have a list of the ones that are common in PA school. Finally, I looked over tomorrow's lecture. We don't have the slides yet, but I went on to our Google Calendar and I saw that it was on the endocrine system. So I just went on the internet and watched a video about the endocrine system. It was stuff that I learned actually in undergrad, but because it was only like a 15-minute video, I haven't fully grasped the concept yet, as well as memorized all the different little things. But I think it would be helpful just to kind of see those names already and have a general understanding, and then later on when I'm in lecture, hopefully that will help better my understanding. I'm hoping this actually works for me, because during undergrad I tried to do this and it didn't end up working out for me. I didn't really understand it. It made me frustrated and confused and just feeling kind of defeated, so I just kind of canceled that out of my study routine. Good morning, guys. It's 8:30 right now. I finally bought my ophthalmoscope, otoscope, and insulator bulb, and it cost me $522.68. So expensive. I was postponing this purchase. It's so sad to leave that large amount of money, leave my bank account, especially now that I don't have a job. So oh well, it had to be done. And then in addition to that, I'm trying to opt out of USC's health insurance. Last night, I didn't tell you guys this, but I actually Zoom called with my friend for a couple hours. She actually goes to PA school at UOP. So we were just Zoom calling, and we left each other on mute, but we were studying together, kind of holding each other accountable, which is really nice. I was wondering, do you guys do the same, as well as do you guys watch like study with me videos, or like use the Forest app or Pomodoro method or whatever? I will update you guys later on what I'm doing. In addition to that, I'm just wearing this crew neck jacket. It's from Aritzia. Everyone was wearing super casual clothes, and like whether that be like Patagonia jackets or like tank tops, so I think it's fine if I just wear this crew neck jacket. So I just finished my endocrine lecture, and we had two parts of the lecture. So the first lecture was, I believe, around 50 slides, and then the second lecture was around 30 slides, and this was done in probably around an hour-and-a-half time span, just because we had breaks and we had like a little introduction. So it was a lot that was covered. I'm sorry that I look kind of crazy. I changed back into my pajamas just because when I get stressed or like anxious or overwhelmed, I like become really hot and kind of flustered. So I switched over to my pajamas, and during this break I'm gonna go and review my notes on my iPad, and I'm utilizing the app Notability, so it's nice because I can go back and look at what the professor said and what I was writing at that time, because you're able to record it and it kind of like highlights it. It's like a storybook. In addition to that, I really want to include in these vlogs like what I'm learning, give you little tidbits or summaries of what I'm going over, just so you guys can kind of know what to expect when you're starting PA school. But right now, I'm not 100% sure what I just learned. I need to like summarize it all, consolidate it in my head, and then I will come back to you guys and explain. So it's exactly 10 a.m. right now, and I just finished up studying on my endocrine lecture. I haven't fully finished everything. I was trying to do the objectives, but it's a lot, so I've finished around half of it. And then I also did mind map to kind of correlate everything in my head, because I feel like having it linear doesn't help me, but have little diagrams like lining things up and then like putting like 1, 2, 3 and then subgroups in there really helps me figure out kind of what's going on as a whole, because utilizing flashcards and having an objective sheet where I have to like type it down, it doesn't really help like provide me the entire picture. So that's what I did. It's floppy. I just wanted to look at it to refer back to it, and then have my objective sheet really be my like study guide, and then utilize Anki for memorization purposes. What was that? I don't freaking know. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I'll kind of tell you what we studied. I can't really teach you guys anything just because I don't fully know what's going on right now, but we talked about the endocrine system, regulation types, the rhythm of the endocrine, the modes of action, classifications of hormones, hormone action, major receptor mediated pathways, and then we talked about endocrine glands, so then like the 3 different types, the hypothalamus, the thyroid, and the parathyroid. I'll try to provide you with more information on what's going on in lecture once I fully know what's going on in lecture. I have like a list of questions that I want to go over and ask the professor. Also, just remember that I still have my due cards for my medical terminology exam, so I'm probably going to be on Anki for another 30 or 45 minutes. Good morning, guys. It's 8:30 now, and I'm just taking a break from finishing up my basic medical sciences objectives. I'm on number 13, and there's 15 questions. Doing this like Google Doc to Anki to doing mind map, and then also reviewing, making sure I totally understand this lecture as a whole, and creating a list of questions to ask my professor a lot, and it's kind of time consuming. So now I'm thinking about utilizing RemNote, which is a different note-taking app. So it's kind of like Google Doc / Notion / Anki all together. And I was thinking about doing this before, but I decided I wanted to utilize Anki because a lot of people spoke highly about Anki. But now I'm thinking this might be a little bit more effective and efficient, so I think I might try this out. It is Friday. I'm sorry I didn't update you guys right after class or that evening. I honestly was just so overwhelmed, and I wasn't in the best headspace to come on and try to be really positive. Even though I want to show you what PA school is like, of course I still want to be like in a good mind space for y'all and myself, but I'll update you on what I did. I finished going over the endocrine lecture, which was the lecture provided on Tuesday, and I created my study guide / objective sheet. I went over the lecture again to make a list of questions because we're doing a wrap up, so where we're able to ask a lot of questions. We have like practice questions on there to kind of see what it's gonna be like on the exam and kind of his testing style. And then I went over our pharm lecture, which was 30 slides, and I really liked that lecture actually. I was surprised that I liked pharmacology. We went into breakout rooms, we talked about it, and she really applied it, and she gave us examples. And I think it won't be too difficult to memorize just because it all makes sense to me, and I've kind of seen those like words before. I've thought about this versus what we're doing in TIM, which is topics of medicine about the thyroid. I don't know all these diseases and stuff. What helps me or is helping me so far is creating these like mind maps where I collect everything, because since we have like 80 lecture slides, I can't connect the dots between them. In addition to that, a lot of the lecture slides have like these shorthand acronyms that I feel like you would know if you had done like scribing previously, but I did not do scribing, so I have to continuously look up these different things and determine like what they mean. We are doing the end of pharm, and then we're doing that wrap up section where we get to ask questions like I told you. After lecture, I'm planning to go over my topics of medicine, specifically like thyroid and all those like diseases and stuff, and finish the outline of it, and then also do pharmacology and create a list of questions for each of them, because we're going to do a wrap up on Monday, so I want to have that prepared. I was able to talk to one of my classmates, and I just like her, like, I'm feeling so overwhelmed. I don't know like if I'm just the only one, but she was explaining how she also felt overwhelmed, and a couple other classmates also confided in her and told her that they're feeling overwhelmed too. So although I don't want other people to feel bad and overwhelmed, I'm glad that I'm not the only one feeling like, oh my gosh, this is such a large amount of information. I am progressively getting crazier looking by the day, and that will continue to happen. Also, I actually want to show you my desk because I think it's a visual representation of how I'm feeling. So this is my desk. There's my iPad, my Apple Pencil, my flow sheet, my other flow sheet, all my highlighters and pens, water bottles, stapler, questions, this study guide thing, objective sheet, the other objective sheet I need to go through, my wrongies for my medical terminology exam that I'm not even thinking about at this point, different study resources because I want to keep this, maybe I'll put it down here so it's not in my view, but I can reach it really quickly. So this is what my brain looks like. Crazy. And I have my study with me video. Not mine. Gutsy study girl. I really like her videos. It has like rain in the background and I find it kind of soothing. So it's 11 o'clock at night and I wanted to update you guys before I went to sleep. I've developed like 4 pimples in the span of this week. I have my basic medical science objectives with me. I'm going to utilize it to make me go to sleep right now. I wanted to let you know what I've been doing. So I have finished all the study guides. I finished them around 12 o'clock at night. I actually made a mistake on it, so I had to change it, and that took a little bit of time to fix. And I don't know if I told you guys already, but I have memorized most of the first lecture, which is basic medical sciences. I've memorized most of it. I went in on my study guide and I highlighted everything that the professor like bolded in class or emphasized that was kind of important. In addition to that, I memorized some of the pharmacology as well as the TIM lectures. I wanted to show you my chart. This is a chart. It has all the diseases that we need to cover, the definition, the prevalence, the risk factor, the most common etiologies / pathophysiology, and then symptoms, signs, pathophysio, mechanism, distinguishing features, systematic approaches to diagnostic workup, diagnostic workup part 2, identify the expected findings, management approaches including non-pharmacological or pharmacological when appropriate, and referral when indicated, potential complications and prognosis and expected outcomes, and then patient education. For my pharmacology and TIM, the part that's not in the chart, I went through this maybe 3 or 4 passes, and then this one I went through it so far I would say 3 passes, and then this 4th pass I went in and highlighted the things that I haven't memorized. And I want to explain like the length of my pass, because I know a lot of like PA or med students or whoever you watch that is in like studying field talks about like passes, like, oh, I studied this 5 passes at least before my exam. And I always thought a pass would be relatively like short, but at least for my passes, I would say the first 2 are like hours long. Like that's for me to memorize it, for me to understand it. And these are just passes of my study guide. This isn't passes of my actual lectures, which I go over maybe 2 or 3 times depending on how difficult the lecture is, to write down any questions I have, to create this study guide. And then also I look at my study guide, make sure I fully understand everything. I put little circles in pencil of the ones that I need help on, and then I check it if I finish it. And that's the same with the first pass of like making sure I understand all the lectures, and then I'll see if I understand actually my study guide. The first couple passes are like hours long. I would say maybe they differ from 3 to 6 hours depending on how difficult it is for me to memorize it. Of course, I take breaks within those hours. a little bit, and then my third or fourth pass would be maybe an hour to 2 hours, and that's when I'm like making sure I finalize it. I'm talking out loud to myself. I'm highlighting everything that I don't know. So now it's highlighted in green, the things that aren't sticking in my brain. And now I'm gonna make flashcards. And I think I talked about earlier that I was thinking about utilizing RemNote, and I was researching it a little bit more, and you can't alter how often you're gonna see these flashcards. So I don't think that's gonna work out for me. So I'm thinking this is the best way to study as of right now. And then after this pass, I make my flashcards, but on Quizlet, this would be near my exam, so I don't really have time for spaced repetition just because it's near my exam, and I would like to see it easily formatted. And I think that's the best is with Quizlet. I haven't utilized Quizlet at all, honestly, so I don't really know what I'm saying or if I'm correct in what I'm saying. I'm just kind of modifying everything as I go and hoping for the best. In the previous times that I've kind of come on and talked to you, I was in a pretty negative headspace. I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and I think this made me really realize why they had so much lectures on mindfulness, on not having imposter syndrome. I kind of changed my mindset on how I'm feeling about this. Of course, I'm still overwhelmed, but I also recognize that I have been working so hard to get to this point, and this is the stuff I enjoy learning about, and I deserve to be here. And in addition to that, I will exceed. I will figure it out, and everyone previously has figured it out, so I will be able to do it too. Finally, just this bridge program, it's an optional program, and in addition to that, it doesn't impact our grade. Of course, it would suck to have to meet up with the director or one of the professors and explain why I didn't perform well in an exam. If I do not perform well in an exam, which I'm not putting that energy out there, I'm gonna perform well. But I think this is a time for me to test out my learning skills. In addition to that, it's a time for me to like see how I want to study in PA school. In undergrad, we had so much time for each lecture. I was able to really digest it. I was able to ask all my questions and better connect everything because there was so little lecture slides, so little content. But now we're just kind of being thrown a lot of content, and it's hard to do that all when trying to still keep up with everything. And before an exam, I would often memorize every single thing, and I wouldn't go into just focusing on high yield information because it gave me a lot of anxiety not knowing every single detail and not connecting everything back to everything. Of course, connecting is good, and I'm still doing that right now. And it's really nice because this is a modular system, so every lecture is able to connect back with the other lectures. Like this basic medical science helps us understand why everything's happening. Then the pharmacology is able to explain like why we're giving these medications, and then the topics of medicine is kind of the overall thing, the medicine part of PA school. So that's I really like it, but also that can cause a lot of confusion because if you're confused about one thing, you're confused about all of them. But basically what I was saying is that I need to be comfortable with feeling uncomfortable coming into an exam. I felt like in undergrad, I was always super confident, super comfortable on exams. And of course, I want to be confident and comfortable because I want to excel and I want to be a good provider. But at the same time, knowing how much information we're going to be given, I know that at times I'm gonna feel uncomfortable before going into an exam, and I need to get used to that feeling instead of having it debilitate me. So I'm trying to connect everything and fully understand it, so I make sure that on the exam, even if there's something I don't know, I can try my best to do process of elimination and utilize the background information to get me to that answer. That's kind of my thought process. I know everything keeps changing and moving in this video. I think that's the reality of going to PA school. Also, actually, the director had said that it's going to take us at least the entire semester to figure out the best way for us to study. So look forward to more changes in my thought processes. So I think I'm going to wrap up this vlog because it is Sunday, and I think I'm going to start another vlog about exam week and how that went. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.